So hello everybody, welcome to this video. We are going to show you how you can install Carbonio Community Edition in your email server, and we are going to discuss all the steps in details so that you can understand their relevance and importance. And so it will be a precise video where we will not discuss a lot about different theories. We will just straightforward follow the process that is listed in our official documentation page, as well as they are listed in our different articles. But for your better understanding, I have summarized them and I have created a shortlisted checklist for them so that you can follow it and complete the process. So let's open our checklist. This is our checklist that we are going to follow to complete this process. Carbonio CE installation procedure. You will find all the details in this link. Please go check out this link for all the details. Also, we have articles in our forum, but these are the main checklist that we are going to follow to complete our process. So at the very beginning of this process, we need to ensure that we have a supported operating system. Here, supported operating system means currently Carbonio CE officially supports Ubuntu 20 and Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. But some other ways that shares the same base OS like Alma Linux, Rocky Linux, they still share the same base, but they are not officially supported yet for Carbonio CE. That's why we strongly recommend you not to use them in your production environment, but definitely you can play with them in your test environment to get along with them and see their performances and their behavior. So I have already prepared a virtual machine for me to complete this installation. Let me log in into my virtual machine. The IP of my virtual machine is 150. So the password, sorry, okay. So let me zoom it a little bit. Okay, I hope you can see the view clearly. So I have logged into my virtual machine. This is a fresh installed virtual machine, and let me check its version. As you can see, this is on Ubuntu 20.0.4.5. So the virtual machine I am using right now is on Ubuntu. You can definitely try it on Red Hat also. uh, Maybe in another separate video we are going to make a video where we will show you how to install Carbonio CE on Red Hat Enterprise Linux, but for now we are doing it on Ubuntu. So our first step is done. Now the very second thing that we need to do is set a static IP address for our machine. Let's check the IP address of our machine. It shows the IP address of our machine is 192.168.1.150. Now this IP address can be a public IP address or a private IP address. It depends on your network configuration. In my environment, it is a private IP address, so I'm gonna use it throughout the entire installation process. Okay, let's check if I need to change this IP address. Where should I go? I should go via etc plan, and here I can change the IP address here, and after that if I apply the net plan, then the IP address will be changed. So this step is also done. My IP address is set properly. Now another important thing, these are all prerequisites. I will tell you when the actual section, the important section of the installation process will appear in front of us, but right now these are all prerequisite sessions. These are though these are prerequisite, but these are important, like setting your host name, setting your host file. As I assume you are all aware of Linux based email server environment, so that's why setting proper host name and host file is very important. So let's check our host name. So my host name is mail.example.com. Okay, it is set correctly, and then let's check host file, etc host. Okay, here you can see this is the host file, but you can see the IP address is not the same as it is set on our interface. So what I have to do is I have to correct it so that this matches the IP address set on our interface. For that I have to edit the file. I will edit the file 150 mail.example.com, and others are same, so it's okay. Then I'm gonna save it. Let me do one thing, ping mail.example.com. Okay, it is resolving its own IP address, so it's okay. So I think it's working. Also what I can do is hostname minus f, it will show the fully qualified domain name. If anything is not configured properly, then it will only show mail or a fragment of the hostname. So it is another way to check whether your hostname is set properly or not. So this step is also completed. So we are running smoothly throughout our preparation phase. Now our system is kind of ready. Before starting the installation of packages, let's update the system repository and make it completely ready for the installation. For that we are going to do apt update. Okay, it says it found 116 packages can be upgraded. Now you can upgrade it or you can leave it for later upgradation process, but for the sake of our installation process, let's upgrade it. Apt upgrade. Now one important thing that I would like to mention it, that after updating and upgrading all the packages, basically you have to restart your system, and it is recommended whenever you change your host name, you should restart your system so that it can uh, it can fully it can be fully implemented on the system. So after this upgradation process, we are going to reboot our system. And during this upgradation process, there are several things. Those are not mandatory, but that can be helpful for you. I'd like to mention to you that uh, you, if you use this kind of custom terminal where you can get additional support, I would request you to add an additional tab where you can monitor the process and what is happening in the back end of the full upgradation or the installation process. So let's zoom it a little bit. Right now we are not doing anything in this tab, but later it will be useful for us to monitor what is happening in the background. So we are 57% down. You can you can read all the outlines, all the outcomes from here, that what's happening during the installation process. So these are not necessary or mandatory, but you can keep a watch on it. Okay, as you can see, our upgradation process is done. So we can close this task. Now what we are going to do is we are going to reboot our system. So let's reboot the system. Our system is rebooting on another monitor. So let's wait a bit, and both our terminals are disconnected. Okay, my system came up again. Okay, so our system reboot is done. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to add Zextras or Carbonio repository into our system. The process of adding Zextras or Carbonio repository into our system is to go to our website. Let me show you. Okay, go to zextras.com, then select the product, scroll down bottom of this page. Here you will find a form. Just fill up the form. .com plus dash yes get community edition. Okay, thank you. Check your mailbox. So I should get a mail consisting of that repository list. Okay, okay, now I have to uh, give it to my authentication. Okay, just wait a bit. Okay, so here you can see I received the email where I got all the instruction how to add the repository into my system. For Ubuntu, these are the instruction, and for Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8, these are the instruction. For Ubuntu, I will simply copy this script and download it here. Okay, let's check. Yes, the script is downloaded. Now I'm going to give you the right permission for the execution permission. And now I'm going to execute it. Okay, the script is executed. So this step is done. Now, as I have recently added this repository into my system, I am going to again update all the repository list of my system, so that whenever I try to install any package, the system takes all the repositories available in its inventory and download all the packages and their dependencies all along. So let's do it. Update. Okay, as you can see, it is updated. Okay, so it's updated. Now, one important phase we have reached, that if you are installing a server that has a valid DNS name, DNS record, then you do not need to follow this step, like setting a DNS masquerading. But if you are testing in an environment where you do not have a public DNS record or a public domain name, or you do not have any valid record, then you should set the DNS masquerading. So how to set the DNS masquerading? Let me give you an example that has written in our articles and blogs. So for DNS masquerading, what you have to do is you have to first disable your systemd and your system resolve feature. So for that, systemctl stop systemd resolved. So we are going to stop this service. Then after that, what we are going to do, we are going to disable this service. Okay, and after that we are going to mask this service. Okay, we have masked it. Now we are going to install the DNS masquerading. apt install DNS mask. Now you will notice something, that it is not been able to resolve things, because as we have disabled this systemd resolved and mask it, it is not been able to resolve anything. So what we are going to do is we are going to modify the resolve configuration file and add one here. Okay, after that, now we are again going to try to install DNS masquerading. Yes, and as you can see, the DNS masquerading is, the package is installed. So it's not all. After installing the DNS masquerading package, we need to configure it so that whenever we are trying to install our domain into the server, it should be resolved. So for that, open the DNS masquerading configuration, etc DNS masquerading configuration, go to the bottom of this page. Now write server equals to 1 mx host equals to example.com, sorry, example.com, example.com, mail.example.com 50. Okay, this is the format. Then we are going to enter host record host record, and host record will be the domain name, that is example.com, and followed by the IP. Then again host record equals to, then we will use the full FQDN followed by the IP. Okay, now we are going to save it and restart the DNS masquerade service. See init.d DNS masquerade restart. Okay, the service is restarted. Now let's check its status. Okay, as you can see, the service is running and status shows all okay. So our DNS masquerading configuration is okay. Now these are the important part that we are going to follow now: installing all Carbonio packages and completing the bootstrap, pending setup and mesh configuration. So for now, what we are going to do is we're going to install Carbonio packages. To check Carbonio packages, you can go to the website of Zextras.com, where you will get all the updated packages. Though we have some articles, but I request you to check whenever it is possible our official documentation page, because they are changing and updating more frequently, so you will get the latest update from those official documentation page. But for better understanding, you can often look into our articles also. So let's go back to the page where we have the packages, single server installation, see installation, repository. Okay, host name, package installation. Okay, so these are the packages that I am going to copy from our website. Let me clear it. Okay, so these are the packages that I am going to install: service discover server, that is the console service discovery server, directory server, LDAP, web UI, and all other packages. Some are open core packages and some are advanced packages, so that we are going to install. Let's hit enter and it will resolve all the dependencies, and after pressing Y it will try to install them. So our packages are being installed. Let's see if we can check the log file or not. No, right now there is no trace of log, so maybe later in another step we can see the log. So okay, let's leave it like this. So, by the way, meanwhile the installation is in progress, I'd like to tell you some basic facts that Jim, the Zextras is installed in the OPT directory. So we have some articles where we have discussed the benefit of installing Zextras in the root directory or in a separate directory, how it will affect your system, how it can help you in the moment of crisis if your system gets full. So please do check out those articles so you can get some help and some idea. Like, let me give you an example. Like, if you have installed Zextras in the root directory, and after a certain amount of time your system gets full, the mailboxes are full, so all of your system goes down. So how can you troubleshoot it? How can you free up space when your system is not responding? In that case, it's recommended to have a separate directory under the OPT, so that whenever you install Zextras, it is installed in the OPT directory and your system root directory keeps free. So if your OPT directory is full, still you will be able to access your system and troubleshoot, free up the space, and continue your services. So these are some facts, and also there are some other information that are very much relevant for your system stability. So I would like to request you to go to our blog, check out them, and hopefully you will be able to find some information that are useful and can be useful uh, in your crisis moments. So this is it, and that's all I was trying to tell you. So right now we can see the packages are installing. Running by using, okay, Okay, you can see all the packages are installed. So let's check one thing. Okay, active running, and don't worry about the not running one, because what we're going to do is we're going to install restart systemctl restart Carbonio Prometheus Prometheus Nginx exporter service. Okay, let's check again. Okay, it's okay. Now it is done. Now let's run the Carbonio bootstrap. Carbonio bootstrap. When we ran Carbonio bootstrap, it showed us a log file name. We are going to check this log so that we can understand what is happening in the back end of this installation process. So I have opened this log in another tab, and now as you can see, as we have published the record in our DNS masquerading settings, it is resolved. The domain name and the host name is resolved by the masquerading settings. So everything's okay. Right now we are going to press Y to apply the configuration. Invalid selection. Okay, let's take a look at. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Y. It will be a lowercase y. Earlier we put uppercase Y, so it is not accepting the value. So in the other tab, you can see the server is setting all the parameters that are necessary to run this email system. And by the way, it is a very good thing to observe this log, because from this log you can learn so many things, and it can be helpful for you in lots of ways during different kind of troubleshooting. Like you're facing a particular trouble, if you understand this log, if you remember this log, how the server set a particular parameter or a value for a certain settings, you can modify that settings by remembering this log. So understanding this log and watching this log can be very useful for you sometimes. So I recommend you to save this log, study this log, and whenever possible you have time, just watch this log. So as you can see, server is setting all the parameters uh, to the system, and they are logged in here. But in the front end you will not get to see a lot of things. Only few major things will be showed here, but all the details you can find in the other tab. So okay, let's wait for a minute. Let's see and wait to complete this process. So you can see it is setting the IP mode, it is setting the CM LDAP, saving SSL certificate in LDAP, post setting the postfix password, MMBase password. So it is doing lots of settings. So let's wait a bit. Now, after the installation of packages, we have initiated the Carbonio Bootstrap. What does this Carbonio Bootstrap do? The Carbonio Bootstrap initially does collects all the packages, installs them, and creates new administrative account and other parameters so that the system can be usable for the user and the admin. So let's check here. As you can see, Carbonio, the bootstrap is setting ports for proxy config, reverse proxy config. Reverse proxy mode must be one of the HTTP or redirect. All these settings are configurable from the graphical user interface also. But that's the interesting thing, that during the installation, server does it by itself in the CLI mode, and you can watch it in the log. And as you can see, there are some other parameters are enforced. MTS settings, post drop. Now it is setting the my network, enabling the services. Okay, setting services. Okay, now it is creating the domain example.com. Domain already exists, so now it is creating an account Zextras. Okay, creating root aliases, postmaster aliases, creating the spam user, then it will create the ham user, this one. Also, by the way, the use of spam user and the ham user, what are the difference between them and how they are used, what are the benefit of using them? We have a separate article about it, how we can train them. It is quite an useful article, so to read it and you will learn more about how you can train your server or your system to identify a spam email, uh, or identify an email that is not a spam. So these are all part of learning. The more you will understand your systems, your accounts, the more you will be efficient to manage your server. So that's why I would request you to read the articles, go through them, and try to get as much information as you can. By the way, all the informations are available in the internet, so you can always go check them out in the internet. But I do request you to check out them so that you can understand your system better way. Now it is starting the servers, and from this tab we can see all the services are stopping. Then it will again start all the services. So all the services are running. Now it is setting the calcing account for the default domain. Setting up the keygen. Now setting up the cron tab, that different scripts that will be running periodically inside of your system. So Carbonio app server is enabled and our configuration is complete. Please enter. Okay, our configuration is complete. Launch Carbonio bootstrap is done. Now what we are going to do is we are going to set up Carbonio mesh. To set up Carbonio mesh, we are going to do is service discover setup wizard. For this, it will prompt us that what is our IP address and what IP address we want to bind this service mesh. We want to bind the service mesh into this IP address, and now it will be prompted a cluster password. Let me give it a cluster password. Then again confirming the cluster password, the cluster will be formed, and yes, the cluster is formed. Now we have a service discovery mesh and we have a cluster. Now we are going to do some pending setups that will complete the process. For the pending setups, just run pending setups -a. It will ask for the cluster password. Let me input the cluster password, and as you can see, all the pending setups will be done. Meanwhile, let me take this box. Carbonio mesh setup is done. Pending setup is ongoing. So okay, all the pending setups are completing. It will be finished in a minute. And okay, there are no pending setups to run. Okay, our pending setups are done. Now what we have to do is we need to configure the database. To configure the database, I am going to just copy and paste the command from our official reference. This is the official reference. Now you can change the password, like this password, dbadm password, and let me put it 1 2 3 4 5 6. And you can also customize other things, but we would not recommend it to customize other things other than password. I'm just customizing the password. Okay, I have created the role. Now again I am executing another command, and in this case, okay, the database is created. Now the last step, that is the password. Initially I use the password 1 2 3 4 5 6. That is I'm going to do. If I had used a different password here, that same password I should have inputted here. So I am following my process to complete the installation of this database. Okay, check Postgres connection. Okay, database initialization successfully. Everything is done. Our database setup is done. Now what I am going to do is I am going to restart all the services and check their status. For that, su Zextras zm control restart. Now we have to wait until all the services are stopped and started again. Now keep this one mind. When the system is ready, there is a admin user that is named as Zextras@example.com, but its password is not set. So to enter into the web UI or the admin UI of Zextras, we need to set the password prior before entering its user interface. So keep it in mind. After restarting the services, we are going to set the password for that admin user. Okay, okay, all services are running. Let's check their status. ZM control status. And as you can see, all services running. Okay, meanwhile, check the version of the system that you have installed. That is 23.4.0. Now as I mentioned that we have a system user, we have a admin user. let's check uh, let's check the admin user. Right now there are few accounts. This is the system account, this is a system account, this is a system account, this is a system account, but this is the admin account, but we cannot log in into it because the password of this account is not set yet. So we are going to set the password so that we can log in into this account. For that, we are going to do Carbonio proof set password Zextras@example.com 123456. Okay, the password is set. So let's try to log in into the account. Let's open a browser, enter the IP address .150. We have to put HTTPS in front of it. Okay, yeah, this is the user interface. Now if I put Jextras 123456, as you can see, I have logged into my system and everything is fine. I can do my mail transaction from here and the user interface is okay. Now let's check out the admin panel. As you can see, it shows it is Carbonio admin user account. Now let's go to the admin panel. To go to the admin panel, what you have to do is just put a port after the IP address, that is 6071. And if I do 6071, let me zoom it a little bit. Let me zoom it a little bit. No, it's not zooming. Okay. Okay. So the extras 123456. So this is our admin panel, and from this admin panel we can do lots of stuffs, and day by day we are integrating so many things, we are improving things so that it can be more useful and convenient for our users to manage their system in a daily basis. And there are lots of features. I would recommend you to try it by yourself, and this is it. So do try it and hopefully you will like it. So that's it, guys. Let me complete this checklist. And by the way, if you want to create a new user, that you can do is arman@example.com 123456. Okay, the user is created. Now what you can see, that besides the extras we have another account, that is Arman, and it never logged in. So this is the fact. This is the full installation process of Carbonio CE, and you can check our official website as well as our article to view the whole thing. And in another video we will show you how you can efficiently and effortlessly upgrade your existing system to the new release. So stay tuned with us and do let us know your comments and feedbacks about the process, about your query, so that we can make things more convenient for you. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and have a good day. Thank you so much.